Please remain standing for a moment of silence. I'd ask that you keep in your thoughts and prayers the brave servicemen and women serving our country, both here and abroad. Thank you. Please be seated. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta.
Here.
Councilman Martinez.
Here.
Councilman McSweeney.
Here.
Councilman Gregory.
Here.
Supervisor Schaefer.
I am here, so all five are present. We have a quorum. Welcome if you're here in person or if you're watching us on our YouTube channel live at Thursday, November 14th at 3 p.m. This is a meeting of the Babylon Town Board. For those of you here for your first time, the meeting is divided up into three sections. The first is dedicated to the public hearings. There are two public hearings scheduled for today, so if you're interested in addressing the board on either of the public hearings, we ask you to fill out a card up front and file with our town clerk. Second portion is dedicated to the agenda. There are agendas on the table up front, so if you're interested in addressing the board on any of the items listed on the agenda for that, we ask you to fill out a card as well. File with our town clerk. And the third portion is the open portion, when residents can come forward and address the board on any matter concerning town government or town services that are not on today's agenda. When you do come forward, please speak directly into the microphone. We ask that you state your name and address for the stenographer, and we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If you're, again, watching us on our YouTube channel, you can utilize the link. That will be live both today at 3 p.m. during the meeting as well as after, and you can send us a message with your questions, comments, or concerns, and one of us will get back to you on that. So with that, we'll go into the public hearings, and the first public hearing is a public hearing on designating the premises known as 354 Comac Road, Deer Park, New York, 11729, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0100-66-2-19.001, a public nuisance, authorizing the boarding up of said premises and authorizing the town attorney to commence litigation. I don't have any cards, so I will take a motion to close and reserve by Councilman Gregory, second by Councilman Mineta. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Second public hearing is a public hearing on the draft environmental impact statement for the Bristol Suffolk LLC. Application 24-13ABE, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 100-38-1-001, 0100-10-04-044, 0100-10-04-043, and 0100-011-01-011 northeast corner of Little East Neck Road and the Long Island Railroad right-of-way, Wyandanch, New York, 11798. Mr. Groh, did you need to read something into the record? Yes. So if you wouldn't mind just coming forward, and then we'll go to the speakers.
Yes, just to be clear, this is the second official public hearing on the draft EIS for the Bristol project. The comment period is currently open until November 25th. We'll accept written comments to our department. There's also on the town website under the council public hearings an opportunity to go online and provide comments. This is actually maximizing the public input on the project. It's unprecedented to have a second secret public hearing on a DEIS. So the town board and supervisors to be commended on doing a thorough environmental impact statement review.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go to Kevin Hession.
I get to be first, huh? I don't think 3 minutes is enough time to even talk about all the problems I see here.
Just state your name and address.
My name is Kevin Hession. I live at 40 Ridge Road, Wheatley Heights. Where to begin? This is an environmental nightmare. I broke it into several different things, so I wanted to discuss each. If this is a warehouse, how does it have 260 people? That's way too many. If it's a warehouse, is there a security perimeter? iPods could be quite valuable. If it's a warehouse, would it have roof vents for propane exhaust? Would it have a loading docks for local deliveries? Would it have more points of egress and fire codes? I mean, two doors for the whole place for 260 people? Now, maybe it's not all built out, and I can understand that, but I'm not sure what you're trying to build here. 72 acres of cement? You know, it gets hot in the city in the summer. That's an environmental concern. But my real concern is what they're trying to build. And after analysis, I think it's a Resource Recovery Center, source separation facility. And I say this because, there's no roofs on the vent, they're hermetically sealed. You have docks large enough to bring in payloaders and trucks themselves. One of the questions I would ask, can those docks, larger docks, bring a trailer, a tractor trailer in, or just like dump trucks and smaller vehicles? A warehouse needs to run 24/7 by 365 to function properly. A warehouse has to have a lot of traffic going in and out. Now, I worked in a warehouse, and I know that in 1 hour I can load 4 trucks or load them up. I did some quick math. That's 12,600 trucks a day. That's impossible. To make you understand how many trucks that is, if you close the expressway between the Midtown Tunnel and Riverhead and filled up all 3 lanes, that's about 12,000 trucks. You're not going to get that down Little East Neck Road. You're not going to get that down Long Island Avenue. As far as the upgrades to the traffic, they're nice. I like to see them just to alleviate the current congestion. But quite honestly, they're not going to address the real problem, capacity. You need to go 2 or 3 lanes in each way. Now, I remember when I was a kid, application was made for this to go 2 or 3 lanes each way. And one of the reasons that application was shut down is because the Indian burial grounds located at this property. Has there been any reach out to the Indian people about the Native Americans that may be buried here? It's a concern. If you people saw in the movie Poltergeist, I would too. If it was a warehouse, where's the trailer parking space? If you have a half load, you can't move for 3 weeks, you're not going to leave it in the bay. Where do you park it? If it's a warehouse, where are the refrigeration units for the perishables? If it's a warehouse, this is an important question. This is how I can tell if it's more of a source separation facility or a warehouse. Does it have an indoor drain on that vast field of cement? Are there gullies that go into the local leaching field? When I worked at a warehouse, if I spilled Tide off the docks, it was hosed down into the local sewer, which is the leaching fields beneath the facility, next to our water source. Warehouses move anything you can think that's poisonous left and right. There was a request for a restriction on lithium batteries. The truth is, the owner of the property can't guarantee what the tenant's going to move in and out, because the tenants can move in and out whatever they want. You can catch them and fine them, but you can't restrict them. People should know that. These places often become toxic waste dumps. The environmental impact, the taking of the water. The water fields at Wade Farms were filled in years ago, but the entire recharge area, if you look at this site from a satellite and see it's just all green. It's a natural recharge basin which gives us clean water for our local aquifer. Dirty recharge basins are what we commonly call sumps, which is one you're proposing for this property. Now, the fact that you put it right next to the water pump means you haven't really thought this out. Any good engineer looks at some project like this and says, where do we put the water? And they look at what's around, and they don't put it next to the water pump. Colonial Springs is aptly named because it was once a river. It's a huge recharge basin for the Dix Hills chains. All the water runs down the hills, goes to Colonial Springs, now runs subsurface, below the surface of the ground. It's called subsurface water migration. That's why we have a lot of clean water here, and keeping the water clean is super important for not just ourselves, but future generations. The cemetery, the camp, the airport, these are natural recharge basins. Any basin that has level, flat grass is desirable. There's something called subsidence and coastal water intrusion. The water that this facility is going to consume, is it going to be used to sell bottled water or make Entenmann cakes and be shipped off-site? Is it part of a natural resource that's going to be depleted? If so, you can have the ground level sink above it, and the wetlands on the south shore come in a bit. It's a sole source aquifer because there's only one aquifer we all got to share. Now, this is just a really bad, proposal. I don't know what the hell they're trying to build. Now, if they're not building, it makes sense as a source separation facility. There's not many trucks. Those truck bays are filled with dumpsters that have material thrown into them. Will waste management be involved in any future renting of these facilities? When you build something this big, the builder usually has a tenant in mind. Have they mentioned any tenants to you that they have in mind to rent this facility? I got so much more to say, but I just want to say, don't poison the water. If I drop Tide on the dock, it goes into the local aquifer. Less toil, brake fluid, anything they're moving. And successful warehouses have to move a lot. They have to have that 12,000 trucks a day. Even at minimum capacity of, say, 1%, an engineer designs for 100%. At 1% capacity, that one single access point can't do that traffic. I looked to see what warehouses were as big as this warehouse, and I came up with Kennedy Airport at 1.2 million or 1.3 million square feet, as opposed to 1.5 million. This thing is the size of the cargo area at Kennedy Airport. It simply can't be built for that reason. You know, it's the scalability. It's not going to happen. And, you know, I'm thinking you're not going to take my backyard. You're going to take my front yard and my house. You'd have to build something as big as the Van Wyck Expressway to handle that type of traffic. This is a pipe dream. I wonder what they're really trying to build, and I think it's a resource separation facility, because that would be a low traffic. As the lawyer said, it's not a high traffic, it's not a fulfillment center, it's a low traffic. It would also explain why you don't have any trailer parking spaces. You don't need them. You park the dumpsters in the dock. It also explains why you have covers on the dumpster to keep the rain out of the garbage. It also explains why you have large loading bay doors. That's to let the payloaders in. It also explains why you don't have ventilation shafts. You want to hermetically seal the place, not to let the poison out. You know, I think my 3 minutes is up. I'm about to call me on, Rich. I just want to thank you all for your time, and I really hope you don't do this.
Thank you, Mr. Hessian. Robert Lutz?
A lot shorter. Robert Lutz, 122 Ridge Road, Wheatley Heights. Okay. I submitted some stuff to you last week, I believe it was, okay, in reference to the project. Basically, just to bring it up in public notice, okay. Landscape sound walls, and basically, we know the project is roughly going to probably go. Obviously, we're trying to look for a good neighbor, all right? So, light pollution control, all right? I know the lighting shows dark sky compliance, all right? But there's some other issues, things that can be added to the lighting controls, all right, that will actually shut the lights off in the evening hours and only work via occupancy controls, which is, I've submitted to you with cut sheets of the equipment and everything else, all right, with some rough budgetary pricing on it, all right? The manufacturer won't give it unless I price the whole project, okay? But I gave basically less than a 3-year payback on the system further, so I can't see them not looking to entertain that thought, okay? So in reference to economic benefits to the neighborhood, concern obviously is where the restaurants, eating establishments, gas stations, again, people are going to work at this facility. There's got to be obviously some place for these people to go and eat. There's very few local restaurants, delis and whatnot in the area, and there's less than that, and even gas stations that are capable of handling a truck. So when you look at the overall project, it's the economics around the whole entire neighborhood. You know, it's a great benefit, tax revenue, I understand that whole process for everybody, but, you know, there's other acclimates that need to be addressed and looked at when you look at the overall project, okay? What else, quickly. The catch basins, again, looking at some of the paperwork that they've submitted, they've done what looks to be a very good job, okay? I mean, I know the very reliable companies that have done the paperwork, okay? I know you're looking at catch basins to try to collect the bags inside the catch basins. Obviously, the concern is once it gets dirty, it's removed, and you no longer have a catch basin control, all right, for any sediment and whatnot that's getting in, and then we'll get down into the catch basin. So that's obviously just more of a control basis that somebody has to make sure that they're ensuring to watch the control of the system, all right, that's in place, okay? The traffic study, just quickly, it looked like they took Heartland Industrial Park as their resource for going all right, for figuring out the amount of volume of traffic to handle it, truck traffic and everything else. While it kind of makes sense in one respect, what doesn't make sense is they took a road that's non-residential, so the north-south corridor that they're looking at in that industrial park to try to comply to Little Lace Neck Road, excuse me, in my mind doesn't seem to comply as a good comparison, all right, because that's a complete industrial park. There is no north-south corridor there at all. While Little Lace Neck is a north-south corridor of residential building, so. It was really about the most of gist of what it is, okay? Again, you know, I submitted everything to you guys already, so just to bring it up in public comment, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Lutz.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any other cards, so I'll take a motion to close and reserve by Councilman Martinez, second by Councilman McSweeney. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. That's it for the public hearings. I don't have any cards on the agenda, so we'll go to the agenda. The consensus resolution agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consensus resolution agenda? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I offer the consensus resolution agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Consensus resolution agenda is adopted as listed. Today's resolutions, I'll offer Resolution 872.
I second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney.
Yes.
Councilman Gregory.
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved, 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 873.
Oh, I'm sorry. I offer to approve. Motion to approve.
Second.
Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney.
Yes.
Councilman Gregory.
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer.
Yes, resolution's approved, 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 874.
I offer Resolution 874.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. That's it for the resolutions. We'll go to the open portion to Jordan Christensen.
Great, thank you. I'm Jordan Christensen. I'm with Citizens Campaign for the Environment. And as many of you know, CCE supports renewable energy and energy efficiency measures. And thanks, Town of Babylon, for your continued commitment to environmental protection, to fighting climate change. We've seen towns like Brookhaven and Riverhead implement codes to properly site best battery energy storage systems and to streamline the process of moving forward with these important projects. We know you're under a moratorium, and we are urging the town to move forward with updating your codes to properly cite best projects and to not extend the moratorium for another 6 months. So as you probably know, NYSERDA has created model guidance legislation, and the state's interagency fire task force recently released its final report, including guidance also to help towns and municipalities draft their own codes for fire safety. We'd urge you not to reinvent the wheel. So much research has been done from experts, and to tap into that to move forward. So here in Babylon, we're on the front lines of climate change. We know the state has climate goals, and we've actually been doing very well, right, with our solar energy, rooftop and large scale. We're becoming a hub for offshore wind. But the third piece of that is that we're going to need battery energy storage systems. There are going to be times the wind isn't blowing, the sun isn't shining, and we're going to need to store that energy to deliver it to homes when we need it. It'll also help us stabilize our grid, but most importantly, it will allow us to transition off of our polluting fossil fuel peaker plants. We've had communities for decades living under polluted air quality. Suffolk regularly receives an F from the American Lung Association. So the time is now to make the transition, and we're simply not going to be able to do that without utilizing good BESS systems. So again, just asking you not to extend this moratorium and to move forward with the codes to make sure we have some projects that can start moving forward. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you. Julia Damiano?
Hello, my name is Julia Damiano with the New York League of Conservation Voters, or NYLCV for short. First, I want to thank you guys so much for the opportunity to speak today and for considering our thoughts, and also to thank you all for your continued strong leadership in environmental protections. Our organization is determined to see New York move away from a fossil fuel economy, and that means promoting the green energy transition, because we know the greatest risk of our future is not building the energy grid for the future. With the urgent threat of climate change, it is critical to build energy infrastructure that will help combat the many weather-related disasters that we are seeing, while also making sure that the energy grid remains reliable for our residents. NYLCV believes that the battery storage is a practical solution for storing and using intermittent energy sources. By implementing the battery energy storage systems, Long Island's energy systems will be more resilient and stabilize the power grid during weather-related emergencies. The systems will help the community during excessive heat days, assist in replacing dirty peaker plants, support the offshore wind transition, and benefit solar initiatives. NYLCV recognizes that there are concerns regarding the safety and location of these facilities. But we also know that with proper safety precautions that the industry is committed to, and New York State implementing strict fire safety codes, the town can rest assured that these facilities can be built safely. NYLCB is committed to serving the people of Long Island and sees that the implementation of the battery energy storage systems are an integral step in combating the climate crisis, and we believe that now is the time for local leadership for this step. With this, we can create a cleaner, safer, and more resilient future for Babylon while supporting good-paying jobs that sustain local families. Additionally, while I believe we did submit these electronically, I hold in my hand several comment letters from local residents and from local organizations that I would like to present for your consideration.
Sure, you can hand them up.
Thank you. That's all I have, and again, we ask that you let this moratorium end, and we again thank you so much for the opportunity to comment today.
Great, thank you. Okay, I don't have any other cards, so I'll take a motion to adjourn from Councilman McSweeney, second by Councilman Mineta. All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.